Chiamaka Nwankwo stood in front of her parents' compound in Karu, holding her wedding dress in a plastic bag. Her hands were shaking slightly. Her eyes were fixed on the man she was supposed to marry in 3 days, and the woman standing behind him with her arm wrapped around his like she owned it.
Say
Ikena,
what you came to say.
Chiamaka said quietly. Say what you came to say. Ikena Obi adjusted his expensive blue suit and cleared his throat like a man who had rehearsed this moment in front of a mirror. Chiamaka, I've thought about this carefully. We are not the same people we were 3 years ago. I have grown. You have not. The truth is, you are not the kind of woman who can stand beside the man I am becoming. Mazi Emeka Nwankwo stood in the doorway of the compound in his faded brown wrapper and singlet. His face did not move. His wife, Mama Ngozi, stood beside him with her arms folded across her chest. Hello friends, welcome to our story. Before we start, please like this video and subscribe. Also tell us in the comments where you are watching from. Lagos, London, Johannesburg, maybe Atlanta or Houston. We want to know. Ikena kept talking. I came here today not to marry you. I came here to tell you that I am going to the marriage registry this afternoon, but not with you. With her. The woman on his arm smiled a slow, poisonous smile. Her name was Folake Adesanya, and she was 23 years old. She wore a tight red dress and makeup that took an hour to apply. Good morning, Mama Ngozi, Folake said, forcing a small laugh. I know this is awkward, but please try to understand. Love doesn't ask for permission. Mama Ngozi did not answer her. Mama Ngozi only looked at her daughter. Chiamaka's face did not crack. Not yet. Ikena, Chiamaka said, her voice steady.
I gave you
3 years
of my life.
I gave you 3 years of my life.
My family welcomed you
when you had nothing. My mother cooked for you every Sunday. My father, she paused, glanced at Mazi Emeka, then continued. My father even promised to help your company. And this is how you repay us? Ikena laughed, a short, mean laugh. Your father's promise is worth nothing. Let me be honest with all of you. The only reason I stayed with Chiamaka for 3 years was because she was willing to spend money on me. She paid for my transport, she bought my clothes, she even paid part of my rent when my salary was small. I was patient. I was tolerating her because I thought her family had something to give. But now the Adesanya family is preparing to invest 100 million naira into my consulting firm. Your daughter from Karu is no longer worthy of me. Mama Ngozi made a sound that was not quite a word. Mazi Emeka stepped forward slowly. Ikena Obi, the old man said quietly, stop your mouth. Ikena turned to him with fresh mockery. Papa, with all respect, don't embarrass yourself today. I have no time for old men in faded wrappers. Mazi Emeka ignored the insult. He reached into the inner pocket of his wrapper and pulled out a phone. A cheap phone. The kind of phone people buy for 5,000 naira at any roadside stall. Send the notice, Mazi Emeka said into the phone. The 100 million naira investment into Obi Consulting. Cancel it immediately. Yes, cancel everything. Ikena froze. What? Mazi Emeka did not look at him. He kept speaking into the phone. Also, blacklist the company. Anyone who does business with Obi Consulting from today is no longer welcome in our network. Issue the order now. He hung up. Folake burst into laughter. Loud, theatrical laughter. Ikena, are you hearing this man? He is saying he was going to give you 100 million naira. This old man. Have you ever heard of something so funny in your life? These people are mad. They have been driven mad by their own poverty. They are trying to scare us with money they have never seen. Ikena recovered and laughed too. Old man, who are you deceiving? Do you know the kind of family I come from? Do you dare to impersonate the Nwankwo family? You people are just delusional. A poor family from Karu trying to act like they have power. Mazi Emeka said nothing. He already said what he needed to say. Daughter, he said gently to Chiamaka, don't be angry. Daddy will defend you today. Chiamaka's eyes filled with tears for the first time, but she blinked them back quickly. She would not cry in front of this woman. She would not give Folake the satisfaction. Look at him, Folake said, pointing at Mazi Emeka and laughing. Look at his phone, 2,000 naira phone, and he is pretending to be a rich man. She turned to Chiamaka. Poor girl, you should thank me. I have freed you from false dreams. Go and find a bus conductor, or better still, find that security guard next door. I'm sure you two can build a beautiful poor life together. She laughed again. Chiamaka's hand tightened around the plastic bag holding her wedding dress. A voice came from behind the low fence that separated the Nwankwo compound from the next compound. That's enough. Everybody turned. A man in a dark blue security guard's uniform was standing at the edge of the compound with a mop in one hand and a bucket of water in the other. He was tall, broad-shouldered. His boots were dusty. His face was calm, but his eyes were not. He set down the bucket. He walked through the gate. Ikenna stared at him with fresh irritation. "Who is this one?" "I'm the security guard from next door," the man said quietly. "And what you're doing here is not okay." Ikenna laughed harder than he had laughed all morning. "A security guard is correcting me. A mopping boy. Get back to your compound before I slap that face of yours." The man did not move. He just stood there. His name was Tunde Bakare. He was 31 years old. He was wearing a 5,000 naira security guard uniform over a body that had not done physical labor in 9 years. 3 weeks ago, he had been sitting in his penthouse in Echo Atlantic, Lagos, looking out over the ocean and feeling nothing. He had 2 engagements that had ended badly. A third woman had walked out on him the moment she discovered his company had a temporary cash flow problem. A problem he had invented to test her. After the third one left, he had sat in his penthouse all night and made a decision. He was going to disappear for a while. He was going to find out what the world looked like when nobody knew his name. The next morning, he had called his head of operations and said, "Find me a small compound in Abuja that needs a security guard. Something quiet, nothing fancy." 3 days later, Tunde Bakare, the founder and CEO of Bakare Industries, a conglomerate valued at over $2.4 billion, had taken a bus to Abuja, put on a security guard's uniform, and started cleaning a compound in Karu for 45,000 naira a month. Nobody knew. Nobody suspected. And this morning, while he was mopping the front of his employer's compound, he had heard a man's voice from next door telling a woman she was not good enough, and something inside him had said, "No, not today, not to this woman." He had put down the mop and walked through the gate. "Apologize to her," Tunde said quietly. Ikenna stepped forward with fake confidence. "You think because you have big shoulders you can intimidate me? I am a businessman. I wear suits. You wear a security guard uniform. Do you know what we call people like you? We call you servants. Now get out of my face before I forget I am a gentleman." "Apologize to her," Tunde repeated. His voice did not rise. It did not need to. There was something in the steadiness of it that made Folek take half a step backward without realizing she had moved. Ikenna noticed. His laugh was thinner this time. "Folek, let's go. I don't argue with mop boys." He grabbed her hand. They turned toward the gate. Ikenna paused at the gate. He turned back to shout one last insult. "Chiamaka, marry the security guard. The two of you deserve each other. Sweep the streets together and count your kobos." They left. The gate clanged shut. The yard was silent. Chiamaka did not move for a long moment. Then she crossed the yard slowly and stopped in front of Tunde. "What is your name?" she asked. "Tunde." "Tunde, thank you
What's your name?
for what you just did. It was kind."
Thank you, Tunde.
"It was nothing,
For what
Ma.
you did, it was kindness.
It wasn't nothing. It was kindness. And kindness from a stranger on a morning like this is the biggest thing in the world." She looked at him for a long moment. Then she said something that made her mother drop the cloth she had been holding. "Tunde, do you have a wife?" "No, Ma." "A girlfriend?" "No, Ma." "Are you a good man?" "I try to be."
Will you marry me?
"Will you marry me?" Tunde blinked. He was a man who had negotiated billion-naira deals without flinching. But the question from this woman in a blue dress holding a wedding dress in a plastic bag made him completely quiet. "Ma, I don't understand. I am serious, Tunde. I don't want to play with you. I want to marry you, today, right now. We can go to the marriage registry together. I know it sounds crazy, but that man who just left told me I am worthless, and I have decided that I will not spend even one more hour being called worthless by anyone. I saw what you did. You walked into a stranger's compound to defend a stranger. No man has ever done that for me, not even the man I was supposed to marry in 3 days. So I am asking you, not because I love you. I don't know you, but because you look like the kind of man who would make a woman feel safe. And I am tired of being afraid." Tunde stared at her. Mama Ngozi made another small sound, but this time it was something close to a laugh. Mazi Emeka was smiling a small, private smile that no one noticed. Tunde looked at the woman standing in front of him, a woman he had known for less than 5 minutes, a woman whose entire morning had just been destroyed, a woman who, despite all of it, was still standing straight with her chin up. He thought about his mother in Ibadan. His mother, who had told him before she died that the right woman would love him when he had nothing. He thought about his penthouse in Echo Atlantic. He thought about the 3 women who had walked away when they thought his money was drying up. He looked at Chiamaka, and he made a decision that would shock everyone he knew. "Yes," Tunde said. Mama Ngozi dropped her cloth for the second time. Mazi Emeka's smile became slightly larger. Chiamaka's eyes filled with tears, not of sadness this time. And she turned to her parents. "Mama, Daddy, we're going to the registry." Mama Ngozi recovered quickly. Wait. My daughter, are you mad? You are marrying a man you met 2 minutes ago?" "Yes, Mama. You don't know him. You don't know his family. You don't know—" "Mama," Chiamaka said quietly, "I knew Ikenna for 3 years and I still didn't know him. Sometimes time doesn't teach you anything. Sometimes one moment tells you everything." Mama Ngozi opened her mouth to argue. Then she closed it. She looked at Tunde. She looked at him for a long time. Then she walked forward and took his hands in her own. "Tunde," she said quietly, "listen to me very carefully. My daughter has had the worst morning of her life. She is making a decision that could destroy her or save her. I don't know which one it is yet. But I want you to understand something. If you are not the man you appear to be, if you have come into our lives to hurt her, I will find you. I am 60 years old. I have nothing to lose. I will find you and I will make you wish you had never walked through that gate this morning. Do you understand me?" Tunde met her eyes. He did not blink. "Mama, I understand. And I promise you, on the life of my own mother in Ibadan, I am exactly the man I appear to be. I will not hurt your daughter." Mama Ngozi searched his face for a long time. Then she nodded. "Come, let us go to the registry." Mazi Emeka spoke for the first time. "I will come too. I want to see what this young man's signature looks like." They went to the marriage registry in a danfo, a yellow, rattling, crowded danfo from Karu to Central Area. Tunde insisted on paying the fare because he said he could not allow his new father-in-law to pay on his wedding day. Mazi Emeka did not argue. He only smiled that small, private smile again. At the registry, the clerk, a tired woman who had seen many strange things in her career, processed the forms with bored efficiency. "Names? Chiamaka Adaora Nwankwo. Tunde Olufemi Bakare. Witnesses?" Mazi Emeka and Mama Ngozi raised their hands. "Sign here, and here, and here." They signed. 11 minutes later, they walked out of the registry as husband and wife. On the steps of the registry, Tunde turned to Chiamaka and held up the marriage certificate. "Wife," he said carefully, trying the word. "Husband," she said. "Where do we go now?" "I have a small flat in Karu. We can stay there for now. I have staff quarters next door to your parents. We will figure out the rest together." Mama Ngozi insisted on cooking jollof rice to welcome her new son-in-law. They went back to the compound. While the rice was cooking, Tunde quietly stepped outside to make a phone call. He walked 3 blocks away. He pulled out a second phone from inside his boot. Not the basic phone he had been carrying for 3 weeks. A different phone. A very expensive phone that he had hidden at the bottom of his security guard uniform. He dialed a number. A man picked up on the first ring. "Boss?" "Emma, listen to me carefully. I've gotten married this morning." There was a long silence on the other end. "Boss, say that again." "I got married. To a young woman named Chiamaka Nwankwo, from Karu. This is not a joke. I need you to pause the disguise operation immediately. I am still going to live in the staff quarters for now. She thinks I am still a security guard. I am going to tell her the truth very soon, but not yet. I want to see a few more things first." "Boss, are you sure about this? You don't know this woman." "Emma, I know enough. I will explain later. For now, I need 3 things from you. 1. Transfer $5 million to my discretionary account. I may need it soon. 2. Have the penthouse in Maitama prepared. I may bring her there this week. 3. Send someone to quietly find out everything about Ikenna Obi and Obi Consulting. I want his entire business destroyed by tomorrow morning." "Boss, who is Ikenna Obi?" "The man who broke my wife's heart this morning." Emma paused. Understood, boss. Tunde ended the call. He put the phone back into the hidden compartment in his boot. He walked back to the compound. He sat at the small wooden table beside his new wife and ate jollof rice and listened to Mama Ngozi talk about how she had been cooking this particular recipe for 40 years and how the secret was patience and palm oil from a specific woman in Lugby Market. That night, in the small flat in Karoo, Chiamaka put a mattress on the floor of the sitting room for Tunde and said,
Good night.
"Until we know each other better, you will sleep here. I hope you understand." Tunde smiled. "I understand. Good night, Tunde." "Good night, Chiamaka." She went into the bedroom. She closed the door. She lay on her small bed in the dark and thought about the day. She had been publicly humiliated by her ex-fiancé. She had asked a stranger to marry her. She had gotten married in a registry with her parents as witnesses. And she had come home to eat jollof rice with a husband she had known for 6 hours. Before she went to sleep, she reached under her pillow and pulled out something she had not told anyone about. A small black card. A global sovereign black card. The kind of card that was issued to fewer than 200 people in the entire world. She had been carrying it in the lining of her bag for 2 years. Because Chiamaka Adaora Nwankwo was not a poor girl from Karoo. Her father, Mazi Emeka Nwankwo, the old man in the faded wrapper with the basic phone, was one of the wealthiest indigenous businessmen in Nigeria, worth more than $4.6 billion, and he kept his profile so low that most people in Nigeria did not know his face, even when they read his name in the financial pages. 2 years ago, Chiamaka had told her father she was tired of being introduced to men who looked at her as an investment. Her father had agreed. "Go," he had told her. "Live among regular people. Find out who you are when nobody knows your name. Come back when you have an answer." She had rented the small flat in Karoo. She had taken a job as a teaching assistant at a small primary school. She had met Ikenna 6 months later. He had thought she was a poor girl. For 3 years, she had let him think it. She had believed he was a good man who loved her for herself. This morning, she had discovered she was wrong. She looked at the black card in her hand. Then she slid it back into its hiding place. In the sitting room, Tunde Bakare lay on the mattress and looked at the ceiling and thought about the strangeness of the day. He had married a woman he had known for 4 minutes. He had told her nothing about himself. She had told him nothing about herself. They were two strangers lying in the same flat who had decided, for reasons neither of them fully understood, to take a chance on each other. He closed his eyes. Tomorrow, he thought. Tomorrow I will begin the real test. The next morning, Chiamaka's best friend, Adaeze Onyekachi, called her on the phone. "Chiamaka, is it true?" "Is what true?" "Your mother called my mother last night. She told the entire story. The breakup, the security guard, the registry. Please tell me your mother was drinking palm wine and confused." "Everything my mother told your mother is true." There was a long silence. Then Adaeze laughed. Chiamaka Adaora Nwankwo, the richest unmarried woman in the country, married a security guard in 12 minutes on a Tuesday. Approximately, yes. Are you out of your mind? Possibly. Are you free this afternoon? For what? I want to take my new husband to Jabi Lake Mall and buy him some clothes. He has 2 changes too. I want to dress my husband like a husband. Adaeze sighed, the sigh of a woman who had been friends with Chiamaka long enough to know when arguing was pointless. "Fine, I will meet you there in 2 hours. But Chiamaka, promise me one thing. If this man turns out to be a fraud, you will let me handle him personally. I have my own resources. I promise." 2 hours later, Chiamaka and Tunde arrived at Jabi Lake Mall in a Danfo. Tunde was still wearing his security guard uniform because it was the only outfit he had. Chiamaka was wearing her old blue dress. At the entrance of the mall, Adaeze was already waiting. She was wearing simple jeans and a plain t-shirt, but the jeans cost more than most people's rent, and the t-shirt was from a designer whose name people recognized on sight. Adaeze looked Tunde up and down once, then twice. Then she turned to Chiamaka and whispered, "Chiamaka, my friend, why did you not mention that he is handsome?" "I didn't think it was relevant." "Everything is relevant. Come, let's dress him." They walked into a store called the Galleria, the kind of store where the lighting was warm, the music was soft, and the salespeople wore small earpieces and could calculate a customer's net worth in under 4 seconds. The salesperson who approached them was a young woman in a tight black dress. Her name tag read Adaobi. She took one look at Tunde's security guard uniform and one look at Chiamaka's old blue dress, and her customer service smile froze halfway. "Can I help you?" The "you" landed heavier than the rest of the sentence. "Yes," Chiamaka said pleasantly. "I would like to buy some clothes for my husband." The salesperson glanced at Tunde again, specifically at the dusty boots. "Of course, ma. We have some affordable options at the back of the store. If you would like to start there." "No," Chiamaka said. "We will start with the suits at the front. Ma, those suits start at $1,200. That is fine. Each. That is also fine. Ma, bring us the suits, please, in his size, every color you have." Adaobi did not move immediately. She stood there for a few seconds with the expression of a woman who was deciding whether to walk away and inform her manager that a couple of time-wasters had entered the store. But something in Chiamaka's voice, the particular calm of a woman who was not making a suggestion, made her turn around and walk toward the suit section. Adiza smiled privately. Tunde leaned toward Chiamaka. "Wife, $1,200 is a lot of money for a suit. Husband, you deserve a suit. But no but. Today I am dressing my husband. You will try on every suit in the store." What happened over the next 20 minutes was the kind of thing that in retail stores all over Nigeria produced legends. Chiamaka picked out 3 suits, then 5, then 7, then a watch from the case beside the suits, then shoes, then belts, then shirts, then cufflinks. The pile on the counter grew. Adaobi's polite smile grew thinner and thinner. Adizi added items to the pile whenever she walked past. 2 other salespeople gathered quietly around the register, whispering to each other. "She is going to embarrass herself. Look at her. She cannot afford any of this. Watch, she is going to ask for a discount and then leave." "Total it up for me, please," Chiamaka said. Adaobi tapped her tablet. The total appeared. $24,600. The 2 other salespeople stopped whispering. "Madam," Adaobi said slowly, "that is $24,600. I heard you the first time. Process it." "Madam, do you have a way to pay?" Chiamaka smiled and reached into her old leather bag. She pulled out a card, a black metal card, heavy, the kind of card that had no numbers on the front, just a small holographic symbol in one corner. Adaobi took the card. She turned it over in her fingers. She did not recognize the symbol. She tapped it on her terminal. The terminal beeped. A message appeared on the screen. Adaobi read the message. Her face went white. She read it again. She looked up at Chiamaka. "Madame, please. One moment." She hurried to the back of the store. 10 seconds later, the store manager rushed out, a man in a gray suit, middle-aged. The kind of man whose job depended on never ever mishandling a customer like the one who had just walked into his store. He bowed slightly before he even reached them. Madam, I am so sorry. Please. I apologize on behalf of Adaobi. She did not recognize the card. Please, allow me to personally assist you today. Whatever you want, I will arrange it. With a 40% discount. Please. Please forgive the oversight." Chiamaka smiled politely. "It is fine. I just want to pay and leave." "Yes, madam. Immediately. Adaobi. Process the payment. Double-check everything. Wrap the items in our premium packaging. Call security to escort the madam to her car." Adaobi's hands were shaking as she tapped the terminal. The payment went through. The manager wrapped each item personally. He carried the bags to the front of the store himself. He bowed twice as they left. Tunde walked beside his new wife, carrying the shopping bags and trying very hard not to show the expression on his face. He had recognized the card immediately, a global sovereign black card. There were fewer than 200 of them in the entire world. He had one himself. It was in a safe in his penthouse in Lagos. The card was not something a poor girl from Karoo would have. It was not something even a rich girl from Abuja would have unless her family was very, very rich. Something in his mind began to shift. He did not say anything. He just carried the bags. But he filed the moment away in the part of his brain that kept track of things that did not add up. They walked out of the Galleria and into the main concourse of the mall. They had taken about 12 steps when Chiamaka's face went still. Tunde followed her gaze. Ikenna and Folake. They were standing in front of a jewelry shop. Folake was pointing at something inside the display case. Ikena was nodding. Chiamaka's steps slowed. Chiamaka, Adizi said quietly, we can go the other way. The other exit is right there. No, let's keep walking. They kept walking. They almost made it. Folake looked up, her eyes locked on them. Her face went through the full cycle of recognition. Shock, then amusement, then malicious joy. Ikena! Ikena! Look who is at the mall! Ikena turned. His eyes fell on Chiamaka, then on Tunde. In his security guard uniform, carrying expensive shopping bags, then on the shopping bags themselves, with the Galleria logo on them. His face did the exact same cycle Folake's had done, except slower, and with one additional emotion that Folake's had not included. Confusion. Chiamaka? Ikena stepped forward. What are you doing here? This mall is not for people like you. I am shopping, Chiamaka said. With what money? Did you steal those bags? Did your poor security guard husband pickpocket somebody? Folake laughed loudly. Every shopper in the concourse turned to look. Or, Folake said, eyes gleaming, did you sell yourself at the back of the mall? Is that what this is? Chiamaka, have you become a runs girl now? Is that how you bought those clothes? The laugh she gave after saying it was sharp and cruel. Tunde set down the shopping bags. He set them down slowly, very slowly, every motion deliberate. He straightened. He turned his body slightly so that he was facing Folake directly. What did you say to my wife? His voice was quiet. Folake's laugh died in her throat.
What did you say to my wife?
I was joking.
I was only joking, Tunde.
Say it again.
Tunde,
Tunde,
let it go.
Chiamaka said. Let it go. She is not worth it. He did not look at his wife. He was still looking at Folake. And Folake, who had spent her life getting away with saying cruel things because nothing ever happened to her afterward, felt for the first time in her life the particular fear of a person who has said the wrong thing to the wrong man. Ikena stepped in. Stay out of this, security guard. This is a conversation between me and my ex-fiancée. It stopped being your conversation the moment you opened your mouth about her. And what will you do about it? Tunde finally turned his head to look at Ikena. He did not say anything. He just looked. And Ikena, despite the suit and the watch and the designer shoes, took a half step backward without realizing it. Then Ikena saw something that made him forget everything else. He saw a small jade pendant hanging from a chain around Chiamaka's neck. A simple piece of jewelry, pale green, worn. The kind of thing a person might pick up at a roadside stall for a few hundred naira. Something about it made him angry. It made him angry because it was a thing she had before she met him, and would have after he left, and it reminded him that she existed without his permission. He reached out, fast. Before anyone could stop him, he grabbed the pendant. And what is this? Is this the cheap rubbish you have always worn? Look at this thing. This is the real Chiamaka, not the fake bags, not the fake watch, this plastic stone from Wu's market. He yanked, the chain broke, the pendant came free in his hand. He held it up between his thumb and finger. Look at it. This is what you really are, pretending to be rich in a borrowed watch while wearing a plastic stone around your neck. He dropped it on the marble floor. He stepped on it. The stone cracked once, then again. The pale green pendant split into 3 uneven pieces. For 1 second, the entire concourse was completely silent. Then Chiamaka made a sound. Not a scream, not a cry. A soft, sharp intake of breath, the sound of a woman being struck somewhere very deep. Tunde looked at her face. He saw what was on it. Not anger, not yet, but loss, a very specific loss. And then Mazia Meka and Mama Ngozi walked around the corner. They had been on their way to meet their daughter and Tunde for lunch. They had heard Folake's loud laugh from the food court and had come to investigate. Mama Ngozi saw her daughter's face first. Then she saw the broken pendant on the floor. Then she saw the man standing over it. She made a sound that was not a sound. It was something older than a sound. Mazia Meka did not make any sound at all. He walked forward slowly. He knelt on the marble floor of the mall in his faded brown wrapper. He picked up the 3 pieces of the broken pendant. He cradled them in his palm. He stood up slowly. He looked at Ikena. Do you know what you just broke? A cheap stone. Calm down, old man. That pendant, Mazia Meka said quietly, was carved by my great-grandfather. From imperial green jade, the rarest grade in the world. It has been in my family for 102 years. It was given to me on the day I turned 12. I gave it to my wife on the day we were married, and she gave it to my daughter on her 16th birthday. He looked at the 3 pieces in his hand. Its value at the most recent formal valuation was approximately $3 million. The concourse went dead silent. Ikenna laughed, a nervous laugh. "You are lying, old man. $3 million. For that. You are trying to scare me." Maziameka did not answer him. He reached into his wrapper and pulled out his cheap phone. He dialed a number from memory. "Adamu, it is me. Yes, I want you to destroy Obi Consulting. I don't mean blacklist. I mean destroy. By the end of business today, I want every contract that company holds cancelled. Every loan called in. Every supplier instructed to stop deliveries. Every client informed that their contract is void. Every employee paid out. By tomorrow morning, I want that company to no longer exist. Do you understand me?" "Yes. And one more thing. I want the public announcement to go out from my office tonight. State clearly that anyone in Nigeria who continues to associate with Mr. Ikenna Obi will be considered an enemy of my family. Yes. Use that language. Exactly that language. Issue it tonight." He hung up. He put the phone back in his wrapper. He looked at Ikenna one more time. "Goodbye, young man." He turned to Chiamaka. "Come. Mama cooks stew, let us eat." He walked away. Mama Ngozi gathered Chiamaka under her arm and walked after him. Tunde picked up the shopping bags. He paused beside Ikenna for 1 full second. He did not say anything. He just looked at him with a look Ikenna would remember every single night for the rest of his life. Then Tunde walked after his wife and his in-laws. Ikenna stood in the middle of the mall concourse with the broken pieces of the pendant scattered at his feet and Folek's hand still clutching his arm. "Ikenna," Folek said. "Ikenna, what did that old man mean? He said he was going to destroy your company." He was bluffing. Poor old man bluffing. But Ikenna's phone in his pocket had just started ringing, and it would not stop ringing for the rest of the afternoon. By 6 o'clock that evening, Obi Consulting no longer existed. Every contract had been cancelled. The bank had called in 2 loans at once. 3 major clients had sent identical termination emails with no explanation. The office landlord had sent a letter declaring the lease void. The 4 employees had received their final salaries by bank transfer and a short note thanking them for their service. Ikenna sat in his flat in Wuya, staring at his phone, trying to understand how an old man in a faded wrapper had dismantled a 6-year-old company between lunch and dinner. Then his cousin Bayo called. "Ikenna, are you watching Channels TV?" "What?" "Turn it on, right now." Ikenna turned it on. The screen showed a photograph of an elderly man in a brown wrapper. The caption read, "Chief Emeka Nwankwo, Patriarch of Nwankwo Holdings Issues Statement." Ikenna stared at the photograph. It was Maziameka. "Ikenna," his cousin said, "do you know who that man is?" "That is my ex-fiance's father." "Ikenna, that is Chief Emeka Nwankwo, the founder of Nwankwo Holdings, the 3rd richest indigenous Nigerian. Personal net worth estimated at $4.6 billion. He keeps a very low profile. Almost nobody knows what he looks like. He lives simply because he prefers it. He raised his daughter quietly because he wanted her to find a man who loved her for who she was." Silence on the line. "Ikenna, what did you do?" Ikenna did not answer. The phone slid out of his hand. It hit the floor. In his sitting room, the television continued to play the official statement. Folak, who had been standing in the kitchen doorway, watched his face carefully. Then she took her handbag and walked out the front door. Ikenna did not even notice she had gone. The next morning, Chiamaka went to the headquarters of Bakari Industries to thank young Master Bakari. She did not know that was where Tunde actually worked. She only knew what Tunde had told her that morning. A small lie he had planned to correct very soon. He had said his new private employer was a young businessman named Master Bakare, who owned a building in Maitama, and that he would be at that building all day working as a personal security attachment. "I want to go and thank him," Chiamaka had said. "For what?" "For hiring my husband. We are newly married. I should meet the man you are working for. It is the respectful thing." Tunde had swallowed a laugh. "Okay, I will call ahead and tell him you are coming." He had stepped outside to make the call. The call had not been to Mr. Bakare. It had been to his own assistant, Emma. "Emma, my wife is coming to the office. She thinks I am a security guard working for the CEO. She thinks the CEO is someone other than me. Set up the following. Tell the front desk to direct her to my office. When she arrives, bring her up. I will meet her at the door and pretend to be a security guard performing a routine check. Get me an old uniform, a clipboard, and a radio. Also, I need you to stage a fake CEO. Get the oldest, most senior-looking male executive we have, put him in my chair, and have him pretend to be Master Bakari for 5 minutes while I figure out how to get out of this situation. Emma paused. Boss, is this really necessary? Yes. I'm not ready to tell her the truth yet. I want to see one more thing. What thing? I want to see what she does when she thinks she has access to the CEO of a $2.4 billion conglomerate, and her husband is a security guard. I want to see if she uses it, if she asks for favors, if she tries to position herself. Emma sighed. Understood, boss. Chiamaka arrived at the headquarters of Bakare Industries at 10:30 a.m. She walked into the lobby carrying a stainless steel flask of jollof rice that her mother had cooked that morning. She walked up to the reception desk. Good morning. I am here to see Master Bakare. My husband Tunde works for him as a security guard attachment. The receptionist. A young woman named Maimuna, who had received very specific instructions an hour earlier, did not react visibly. She smiled her professional smile. Yes, ma. Master Bakare is expecting you. Please come with me. She led Chiamaka into a private elevator. They rode to the 38th floor in silence. The elevator opened onto a quiet reception area. Behind the reception area was a set of double doors. The doors had no nameplate. Emma had removed it 20 minutes earlier. Please wait here, ma. I will announce you. Maimuna walked through the doors. A moment later, Tunde stepped out, wearing his old security guard uniform, carrying a clipboard with a radio clipped to his belt. Wife, what are you doing up here? I came to meet Master Bakare, to thank him. Ma, he is in a meeting. I will wait. I brought jollof rice. Tunde blinked. Jollof rice for Master Bakare. Yes, it is polite. Behind Tunde, the double doors opened. An older man, 60, grey-haired, dressed in an expensive suit, walked out with the relaxed authority of a senior executive. Emma had chosen him specifically because he had been the oldest vice president in the company for 15 years. And had the kind of face that people instinctively associated with CEOs. His name was Mr. Adeyemi. Tunde, is this your wife? Mr. Adeyemi asked. Tunde nodded stiffly. Yes, sir. Sir, this is Chiamaka. Chiamaka, this is Master Bakare. Chiamaka stepped forward and held out the flask. Good morning, sir. I am Chiamaka. Thank you for hiring my husband. I brought you jollof rice. My mother made it this morning. Mr. Adeyemi took the flask with the gracious politeness of a man who had not been expecting jollof rice, but knew how to accept a gift with dignity. Thank you, my daughter. That is very kind. Chiamaka glanced at Tunde, then back at Mr. Adeyemi. Then she said something that surprised everyone in the room, including herself. Sir, I have one request. It is small. Mr. Adeyemi raised his eyebrows politely. Yes? I wanted to ask if you could please give my husband a small raise. He is a very hard-working man. He wakes up early. He does his job well. I am not asking for much, just enough to make him feel valued. He deserves to be valued. Mr. Adeyemi did not know what to say. He glanced at Tunde. Tunde's face was carefully blank, but his eyes were doing something complicated. Chiamaka continued quickly, before her courage ran out. Sir, I am not asking for myself. I am newly married. I have my own means. I can take care of myself. I am asking because my husband works very hard and he has never once complained, and I want him to feel respected at his job. That is the only reason I came here today. I will not ask you for anything else. Ever. Mr. Adeyemi looked at Tunde again, then at Chiamaka, then at the stainless steel flask in his hands. He cleared his throat. My daughter, your husband's pay will be increased, effective immediately. He will also be placed on a special monthly bonus. Chiamaka's face lit up. Thank you, sir. Thank you. You are welcome. Now please, allow us to return to our work. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. She turned to Tunde. She kissed him quickly on the cheek, in front of his boss, which was something she had not planned to do, but which felt right. Then she left. Maimuna escorted her back down to the lobby. The moment the elevator door closed, Tunde turned to Mr. Adeyemi and said very quietly, Sir, I need you to leave my office, immediately. And I need you to never speak of this day to anyone. And I need you to accept the 30% raise I'm putting on your personal salary starting today. as compensation for what I just put you through. Mr. Adeyemi smiled. Boss, it was my pleasure. He walked away carrying the hollow rice flask, and Tunde went into his office and closed the door and sat behind his desk for 5 full minutes without moving. Then he pressed the intercom. Emma, my wife just came to my office to ask the CEO for a raise for her husband. She did not ask for anything for herself. She did not mention money. She did not hint at connections. She asked for a raise for the man she thought was a poor security guard. Boss, what do you want to do about it? 2 things. 1. I'm going to give her more than she has ever imagined. 2. I am going to hire her. Not as a favor, as a real employee. I want her on the corporate team. She has exactly the kind of character this company needs. Draft an offer letter. Title her as a special projects officer. Monthly salary. $12,000. Tell her the position was approved by Master Bakare personally after meeting her. Emma paused. Boss, $12,000 a month. For a girl with no corporate experience. Emma, she has the only qualification that matters. Make the offer. Yes, boss. Later that afternoon, when Chiamaka returned to the compound in Karu, a courier arrived with a sealed envelope for her. Inside was an offer letter on Bakari Industries' letterhead. She read it 3 times, then she called Tunde. Tunde, something strange just happened. Master Bakare has offered me a job. What? A job at Bakare Industries, as a special projects officer. $12,000 a month. $12,000? Yes. Tunde, this is too much. Is he giving me this because of you? I don't know. Maybe. I can't accept it. It feels like charity. Chiamaka, listen to me. Master Bakare is the kind of man who does not give charity. If he made you an offer, it is because he thinks you are worth the offer. Take the job. Are you sure? I am very sure. She took the job. She started the next morning. She was given a small office 2 floors below Tunde's real office. Tunde arranged for all of her tasks to be genuine work, real corporate problems that needed real solutions. Because he wanted to see whether her instincts were as good as her character. Within 2 weeks, he had his answer. She was remarkable. She identified 3 inefficiencies in the company's procurement process that had been missed by 3 different audits. She wrote a report that saved the company $600,000 in the first month. She handled a delicate negotiation with a supplier in Port Harcourt without knowing that the supplier was secretly owned by Bakare Industries, which meant Tunde had direct visibility into how she conducted herself in professional settings. She conducted herself perfectly. Tunde sat in his office on the 38th floor and read her reports and watched her from a distance and fell deeper in love with her every day. And he still had not told her the truth. He was waiting for the right moment. The right moment arrived a few days later, but not in the way he expected. A week after Chiamaka started working at Bakari Industries, she called a particular dealership in Maitama, Crown Auto, and asked for the manager. Good morning, sir. This is Chiamaka. I want to buy a car for my husband. The manager on the other end of the line straightened in his chair immediately. Yes, ma. Which model? The limited edition S-Class. I saw it in your showroom last month. Is it still available? Ma, there are only 3 of that model in the entire country. We have 1 left. Reserve it for me. I will come this afternoon. Yes, ma. Do you want us to prepare the paperwork in your name? Yes. Chiamaka Nwankwo. The manager paused. Ma, just Chiamaka Nwankwo? Not your other name? Just Chiamaka Nwankwo for today? Yes, ma. Understood, ma. Crown Auto was not a random dealership. Crown Auto was a Nwankwo Holdings subsidiary. Chiamaka owned it. But nobody outside of her father's inner circle knew that. And she had been operating under her mother's maiden surname for 2 years. Nwankwo was her mother's family name, not her father's. So even the staff at the dealership had only ever seen her as a silent shareholder who occasionally called to check on operations. That afternoon, Chiamaka took a taxi from Bakari Industries to Crown Auto. She had told Tunde she was going out to run an errand. She wanted the car to be a surprise. She walked into the dealership in her simple work clothes. The receptionist recognized her immediately and stood up. Madam, good afternoon. The manager is expecting you. This way, please. She was led into the main showroom where a gleaming black limited edition S-Class was parked under a spotlight. The manager hurried toward her. Madam, everything is ready. All we need is your signature. The car will be delivered to whatever address you... Chiamaka! A voice from the entrance of the dealership made everyone turn. Folake Adesanya was standing at the entrance. Beside her was an older man in an expensive suit, 62 years old, heavy-set, wearing a gold wristwatch and an expression of permanent entitlement. His name was Director Yakubu. He was the chairman of a mid-sized engineering firm in Garki,
Director
married,
Yakubu, I want that.
and currently in the middle of what he believed was a discreet affair with Folake, who had attached herself to him within 48 hours of being abandoned by Ikenna. Folake's face lit up with malicious joy. Look what we have here. My darling, she said, turning to Director Yakubu. Look at this. Do you see this woman? This is the poor girl I was telling you about. Chiamaka, the one whose security guard husband thinks he is somebody. Director Yakubu laughed a deep, indulgent laugh. Ah, this is her? Yes, darling. And now she is in a Mercedes dealership pretending she can afford a car. Chiamaka, are you here to clean the showroom floor? Chiamaka did not react. She just looked at Folake steadily. The manager of the dealership stepped forward. Madam Folake, is there a problem?
Director
I want
Yakubu,
that car,
Get it for me
Folake
today.
said, pointing at the
Manager, what's
limited
the price on this?
edition
I'm
S-Class.
sorry, sir, it's already
My darling
reserved.
will buy it
Reserved?
for me.
By whom?
Today.
Huh?
Right now.
That's it.
I am sorry, madam, but that car has been reserved. By who? By... Chiamaka raised a hand slightly, and the manager stopped mid-sentence. By a customer, the manager said carefully. A customer? What kind of customer? Is it her? Folake pointed at Chiamaka and laughed. That one? Reserving a limited edition Mercedes. Is this a comedy show? Director Yakubu stepped forward with the calm swagger of a man who had spent 40 years believing money was the answer to every question. Manager, how much is that car?
That's a joke.
Sir, the price is $180,000. I will pay $200,000, cash, right now. Folake squealed. My darling. Chiamaka looked at Director Yakubu with polite interest. Sir, she said quietly, the car is reserved for me. I have already committed to the purchase. Young woman, Director Yakubu said, turning his head slightly to look at her as if she were a small insect that had spoken unexpectedly. I do not think you understand. I am offering more than the sticker price. The dealership will prefer my offer. Please go and find another car. There are many cars in the showroom. Perhaps one of the small ones over there in the corner. Something more appropriate for a woman of your means. Chiamaka smiled. Sir, I am going to buy this car. I have already committed to the purchase. Is that so? Then let us see who really has the money to pay. I will offer $250,000. The manager's head turned back to Chiamaka. 300,000, Chiamaka said calmly. Folake's mouth fell open. Director Yakubu's eyes narrowed. 400,000. 500,000, Chiamaka said. 600,000. $1 million. The manager went very still. The other staff in the showroom stopped pretending not to listen. Director Yakubu stared at her. You do not have $1 million. Is there a higher offer, sir? Chiamaka asked the manager. No, madam. Then process the sale at $1 million. Wait, Director Yakubu said. 1,500,000. Folake grabbed his arm. Yes, darling, outbid her, show her. $2 million, Chiamaka said. 3 million, Director Yakubu shouted. 5 million, Chiamaka said. The showroom was dead silent. $5 million for a car that had a sticker price of $180,000. Director Yakubu stared at her. Then, because he was the kind of man whose ego was significantly larger than his judgment, he raised the stakes one more time. $6 million. Final offer. Chiamaka turned to the manager. Manager, I am willing to go to $10 million to secure this car. I want it on record that I am prepared to pay up to $10 million. Does the gentleman want to outbid $10 million? The manager looked at Director Yakubu. Director Yakubu's face had gone the color of old paper. $6 million was already well beyond what he could afford. $10 million was impossible. Folake was still clutching his arm, still whispering, Darling, get the car for me. But her grip was slowly loosening as she watched his face. Director Yakubu started. Sir, Chiamaka said politely, do you want to bid $10 million? Director Yakubu swallowed. I withdraw my offer. Thank you, sir. Manager, I will take the car at $1 million. I appreciate your patience. The manager exhaled with visible relief. Yes, madam, right away. And may I say, on behalf of the dealership, it is always an honor to serve you. Folake stared at Chiamaka. How? How did you have $1 million? You don't even have a proper phone. Chiamaka did not answer. She walked over to a small side desk where the manager was preparing the paperwork. She signed 3 documents. The manager bowed slightly and said, Madam, where would you like the car delivered? To the Billionaire Industries parking structure. Spot B4. Yes, madam. When? Tomorrow morning. At 9 sharp. I want a red ribbon on it. Yes, madam. Folake was still staring. You have money. All this time, you have money and you pretended to be poor. Why? Why would you pretend to be poor? Chiamaka turned to her slowly. Folake, the reason I pretended to be poor is because I wanted to find a man who would love me when I had nothing. I found one. He is a security guard, and in exactly 24 hours I am going to give him this car as a surprise. Do you know why? Because when he thought I was poor, he treated me like I was a queen. And when you thought I was poor, you laughed at me. That is the difference between him and every other person who has looked at me in the last 3 years. Director Yakubu, who had recovered enough to speak, tried one more time to regain some dignity. Young woman, you and I had a bidding war just now. You pushed me to $6 million. That is very unprofessional of you. Chiamaka smiled. Sir, I did not push you to anything. You raised your own bids, of your own free will. In fact, I believe the auction house rules for high-value vehicle bidding at Crown Auto require a 5% deposit from the losing bidder as a good faith guarantee. That is $300,000. The manager will contact you tomorrow to arrange the transfer. Director Yakubu's face went white. What? It is in the fine print of the showroom contract. It is displayed on a sign above the entrance. You walked past it when you came in. Please read it on your way out. This is fraud. Sir, it is not fraud. It is the rule of this dealership. I happen to own the dealership. The rule has been in place for 11 years. Manager, prepare the invoice for Director Yakubu's deposit. Send it to his office by courier tomorrow morning. The manager nodded. Director Yakubu stared at her. You own the dealership. Yes, sir. I own the dealership. And I own a few other things you are also not aware of, but we do not have time to discuss all of them today. I wish you a pleasant evening. She walked past him and Folake without another glance, got into a taxi and went home. Folake did not leave the showroom for 5 more minutes. She was still trying to understand what had just happened when Director Yakubu finally turned to her and said,
Get out of my car. It's over.
Yakubu, but please.
Don't get out. Now.
In a voice she had never heard from him before, get out of my car. What? Get out. We are finished. But darling, I said get out. Folake was put out on the curb in front of Crown Auto. Her taxi fare home that evening was the longest 45 minutes of her life. The next morning, at exactly 9 o'clock, Tunde walked into the parking structure at Billionaire Industries, still wearing his security guard uniform, the one he pretended to wear whenever Chiamaka was around, and found his wife standing next to a brand new limited edition black Mercedes-Benz S-Class with a red ribbon tied around the hood. Chiamaka, what is this? It is your wedding gift, husband. Wife, this is a Mercedes. I know. This is a very expensive Mercedes. I know. Chiamaka, where did you get the money for this? It was a promotional sale at the dealership. 90% off, clearance. 90% off? Yes, a lucky promotion. The last limited edition unit was being sold at a massive discount for brand repositioning. I was the lucky customer. Tunde stared at her. He knew the car. He knew the price. He knew that no dealership in Nigeria had ever given a 90% discount on a limited edition S-Class. He also knew, now with absolute certainty, that his wife was not who she claimed to be. But he did not say anything. He simply reached into his pocket and pulled out an old security guard's rag, and he began wiping an imaginary smudge off the hood of the Mercedes, because he had decided that the game they were playing with each other was too interesting to end just yet. Chiamaka. Yes, husband. Thank you for this car. You are welcome, husband. Can I ask you one small question? Yes, husband. Is there anything you want to tell me? About yourself? About who you really are? Chiamaka looked at him for a long, careful second. Tunde, is there anything you want to tell me? Tunde smiled slowly. Perhaps, but not today. Then perhaps not today either, husband. They looked at each other. Then they both started laughing. Laughing the way people laugh when they have been keeping the same secret and have suddenly realized they have been playing the same game.
Why don't you tell me who you really are?
That afternoon, Folek decided she was going to destroy Chiamaka once and for all.
Accuse her fellow.
She had lost director Yakubu. She had lost Ikena. She had been humiliated twice in 48 hours. Her only remaining option was revenge. She called a cousin of hers who worked as a temporary cleaner at Bakari Industries, a young woman named Ada, and offered her 10,000 naira to plant something in Chiamaka's desk. Ada, listen. I have a watch, a Rolex. I want you to put it in Chiamaka's drawer and then report it missing. Tell security you saw her take it. I just need her fired. I will pay you 10,000 naira now and 20,000 more after she is escorted out of the building. Ada was young and poor and desperate for money, and she agreed. That same afternoon, Ada went into Chiamaka's office while Chiamaka was at lunch. She placed the Rolex, which Folake had bought from a dealer in Wuza who specialized in certified pre-owned luxury, at the back of Chiamaka's top drawer. Then she went to building security and reported that she had seen the new special projects officer taking a watch from the executive wing earlier that morning. Security investigated. They searched Chiamaka's office. They found the Rolex. They escorted Chiamaka out of her office and into a conference room. Madam, we are sorry. We have to ask you some questions. A watch was reported stolen and it was found in your drawer. Chiamaka stared at the Rolex. That is not mine. I did not put it there. Madam, please do not lie. We have a witness who says she saw you take it this morning. A witness? Who? We cannot disclose the identity of the informant, but we have enough to bring you to the attention of Master Bakare personally. He is on his way. Chiamaka's heart started beating faster. Not because she was afraid of Master Bakare. She was not. But because she was afraid of Tunde. Tunde worked for Master Bakare. If she was fired on her second week, it would embarrass her husband. She did not want to embarrass him. The door opened. Tunde walked in. He was wearing his security guard uniform. Behind him was Emma, his real assistant, carrying a tablet. Then the doors opened again, and the man who had been introduced as Master Bakare, the 60-year-old vice president, Mr. Adeyemi, walked in with an expression of carefully practiced gravity. Chiamaka noticed something. Tunde was not standing like a security guard. He was standing like a man about to handle a situation. And Mr. Adeyemi was glancing at Tunde for instructions. Madam, Mr. Adeyemi said, there has been an accusation. Sir, I am innocent. I did not take that watch. Someone put it there. Do you have any idea who would do such a thing? Chiamaka hesitated. She did not want to accuse Folake without evidence. Sir, I do not know, but I am asking. Please, check the security footage. If I took the watch, it will be on the cameras. If I did not, the cameras will also show that. Mr. Adeyemi glanced at Tunde. Tunde nodded once. Emma tapped her tablet. Sir, the footage has been retrieved. It shows a temporary cleaning staff member named Ada entering Madam's office at 12:47 p.m. and placing an object in her desk. Madam Chiamaka was not in the office at the time. She was at lunch with 3 colleagues in the cafeteria. The footage is clear. The conference room went quiet. Mr. Adeyemi's face hardened, not in the theatrical way of a senior executive performing for a subordinate, in the genuine way of a man who had been given a clear picture of what had happened. Bring Ada here, now. Ada was brought in 5 minutes later. She was sweating. She had not expected security to move this fast. When she saw the footage of herself on the tablet, footage she had not known existed, because the executive wing had a hidden secondary camera system that only Tunde and Emma knew about. She began to cry. Please, sir. Please, I was paid. I was paid by someone to do it. Please do not fire me. Who paid you? Mr. Adeyemi asked. Ada hesitated. Tunde took one step forward. Just one step. Ada's eyes flicked to him, and she said immediately, a woman named Folake. Folake Adesanya. She gave me 10,000 naira. She said she would give me 20,000 more after Madam was fired. Chiamaka closed her eyes. Tunde did not move. He just stood there, calm, but every muscle in his body had become very still. Ada, Mr. Adeyemi said, you are terminated. You will be escorted out this building. You will also be reported to the police for conspiracy to commit fraud. You will spend the night explaining yourself to an officer. Please, sir, take her out. 2 security officers took Ada away. Mr. Adeyemi turned to Chiamaka. Madam, I apologize for the misunderstanding. You are not in any trouble. You may return to your office. Chiamaka nodded. She was shaking slightly. Tunde stepped forward. Sir, with your permission, I will escort my wife back to her office. Yes, please do. Tunde took Chiamaka's hand. He led her out of the conference room. The moment they were in the hallway and the door had closed behind them, Chiamaka turned to him. Tunde. Yes. How did Master Bakare know about the hidden cameras so fast? I don't know. Maybe he was already monitoring. And how did Emma have the footage ready? I don't know, Chiamaka. And why did Master Bakare look at you before making decisions? Tunde did not answer immediately. Chiamaka stopped walking. She turned to face him fully. Tunde, who are you? He looked at her. He looked at her for a long second. Then he said, let us go back to your office. Then I will tell you something. I promise. They went back to her office. Tunde closed the door. He turned to her, and for the first time since she had met him, he stopped pretending. Chiamaka. My name is Tunde Olufemi Bakare. I am the founder and CEO of Bakare Industries. I am the one who hired you. I am the one who had the security footage retrieved. I am the one the old man was looking at because he is not Master Bakare. I am. I have been pretending to be a security guard for 3 weeks because I wanted to disappear for a while and find out what it felt like to be treated by the world as a nobody. When I walked into your parents' compound that morning, I was not there because I was a security guard. I was there because I heard a man insulting a woman, and I decided that defending strangers was still worth doing, even when you had nothing. When you asked me to marry you, I said yes, because I had been waiting for someone to look at me like I was a man and not a wallet. I am telling you this now because I love you, and I cannot lie to you for one more day. Chiamaka stared at him. For a long moment, she did not react at all. Then she started laughing. Not hysterical laughter, just quiet, genuine laughter. The laughter of a woman who had been holding something heavy and could finally set it down. Tunde stared at her. Wife, why are you laughing? Because, Tunde, I have something to tell you too. What? My full name is Chiamaka Adaora Nwankwo. My father is Chief Emeka Nwankwo, the old man and the faded rapper who destroyed Ikenna's company with one phone call. He is the 3rd richest indigenous man in Nigeria. I am his only daughter. I have been pretending to be a poor teaching assistant for 2 years for exactly the same reason you have been pretending to be a security guard. I own Crown Auto, the dealership I bought your Mercedes from. I own several other things too. And I have been terrified for 2 days that you were going to find out the truth about me and feel deceived. Tunde's mouth opened slightly. You own Crown Auto? Yes. The Mercedes was not at a 90% discount. No. It was at the regular price, $1 million, plus a deposit from Director Yakubu that I am currently in the process of collecting. Tunde started laughing too. Both of them stood in Chiamaka's small office on the 36th floor of Bakare Industries and laughed until the laughter turned into tears and then into silence. And then Tunde held her face in his hands and kissed her for the first time. It was a real kiss, not a polite one, not a careful one. It was the kind of kiss that 2 people share when they have been hiding the same secret from each other and have just discovered that the other person was hiding exactly the same one in return. Wife. Yes, husband. I love you. I love you too, husband. We need to tell our parents. Yes. My father is going to laugh until he cries. Mine is not alive, but if she were, she would laugh too. They went downstairs. They took the Mercedes. They drove to Karu. They sat at Mazi Emeka's small table and told him everything. Mazi Emeka did not say anything for a long moment. Then he did something Chiamaka had not seen him do in years. He laughed, a deep, rolling laugh that filled the small sitting room and made Mama Ngozi come running from the kitchen. What is it? What happened? Mazi Emeka wiped his eyes. Our daughter has married Tunde Bakare, the founder of Bakare Industries. Mama Ngozi blinked. What? Yes, they have been pretending to each other for 4 days. They both thought the other one was poor. They have been sleeping in separate rooms to be respectful. Ha! He laughed again. Then he became serious. Tunde, come here. Tunde stepped forward. Mazi Emeka took his hand. My son, you have done what few men do. You walked into my compound that morning to defend a woman you did not know. You saw nothing to gain and you still walked in. That is the only test I have ever cared about. Welcome to our
Tunde,
family.
come forward.
Tunde swallowed. Sir, thank you. Mama Ngozi began to cry. Not sad tears. The tears of a woman who had been worried about her daughter for 3 years and had just been told she did not need to worry anymore. 2 nights later, there was a charity auction at the Transcorp Hilton. The kind of event that brought together the wealthiest people in Abuja under one roof. Chiamaka had a reason to be there. Her father had asked her, as a private favor, to publicly bid on a piece of jewelry called the Crown of the Niger, a historic necklace commissioned by her great-great-grandfather in 1908, which had been quietly sold out of the family collection decades ago and had now returned to the market. Her father wanted her to buy it back. He wanted her to buy it in public. He wanted the Abuja business community to see that the Nwankwo family was reclaiming its history. Chiamaka agreed to bid. She did not tell Tunde. She wanted it to be a surprise. And she did not know that Folak, who had spent the past 2 days scheming for revenge, had managed, through a series of pathetic favors, to attach herself to a new sponsor named Chief Akintola, an older businessman with more money than sense, who had agreed to take her to the auction as his guest. Folak intended to use the auction to destroy Chiamaka publicly. She did not yet know that Chiamaka owned Crown Auto. She did not yet know about Bakari Industries. She only knew that she wanted Chiamaka humiliated. The bidding started. The Crown of the Niger was brought out under a spotlight. The auctioneer opened the bidding at $200,000. Several bidders raised their paddles immediately. Chiamaka watched quietly from her table. Then Folak stood up. $500,000, she shouted dramatically. Chief Akintola beside her raised his paddle. 600,000, Folak said. The auctioneer noted the bids. The auction continued. After several rounds, only 3 bidders were left. Chiamaka, Folaka, on Chief Akintola's behalf, and a quiet man in a dark suit representing a private collector. The bids climbed. 1 million, 2 million, 5 million, 10 million. The quiet man in the dark suit withdrew at 10 million. Now it was only Chiamaka and Folak. Folak's face was bright with competitive joy. Chief Akintola was sweating. $20 million, Folak shouted. Chiamaka raised her paddle. 30 million. The room gasped. Folak's eyes burned. She leaned over and whispered to Chief Akintola, "My darling, please, do not let her win, please. I will do anything." Chief Akintola, whose pride had now become more expensive than his bank account, nodded. $40 million. 50 million, Chiamaka said calmly. The room went completely silent. $50 million for a single necklace was unheard of even at a high-end auction. The auctioneer looked at Chief Akintola. Chief Akintola stared at Folak. Folak stared at him. He swallowed. "I withdraw." "Sold," the auctioneer announced. "The Crown of the Niger, to the lady in the green dress of $450 million. Chiamaka stood up. She walked to the front of the room. She did not take the necklace. Instead, she turned to face the audience. "Ladies and gentlemen, before I collect my purchase, I would like to say a few words." The auctioneer nodded respectfully. "The Crown of the Niger was commissioned in 1908 by my great-great-grandfather Onyema Nwankwo. It has been in the Nwankwo family for most of the last 100 years. My father, Chief Emeka Nwankwo, asked me to bid on it tonight because he wanted to reclaim it in public. I am happy to inform everyone here that tonight, the Crown of the Niger has returned to its rightful home." The room erupted in applause. Folak's face went white. Chiamaka continued speaking. "I would also like to address Chief Akintola. Sir, you bid against me tonight. You pushed the price to $40 million before withdrawing. The auction rules require a 5% deposit on the highest bid from the losing bidder. That is $2 million. The auction house will contact you tomorrow." Chief Akintola made a sound like a strangled animal. "I was not actually going to pay 50 million, Chiamaka added pleasantly. "I was only going to bid as high as necessary to outbid the woman sitting beside you, which as it turns out was only slightly higher than 40 million. You may want to reconsider the company you keep, sir. Good evening. She turned and walked back to her table. Folake stood up suddenly, her face twisted with rage. You!
Sit down,
You
Folake,
planned this!
before you embarrass
You knew
yourself
I would
further.
bid! You knew! Folake, sit down. No, you have been hiding everything. You are not poor. You have always been rich, and you let Ikenna and me believe— Yes, I let you believe what you wanted to believe. I let you show me who you really were. Both of you failed. Ikenna failed. You failed. Now sit down before you embarrass yourself further. Folake did not sit down. Something in her finally snapped. She grabbed a champagne bottle from her table. She raised it above her head. She ran at Chiamaka,
Before you embarrass yourself
Tunde,
further.
who had been sitting quietly at the back of the room, watching his wife handle the evening without his help because he knew she did not need it. Stood up fast, very fast. Faster than anyone in the room expected a man to move. He crossed the distance between his table and hers in 3 steps. He stepped between Chiamaka and the bottle. The bottle came down. It struck him on the side of the head. He fell. Blood. A lot of blood. Chiamaka screamed. Security tackled Folake. The room exploded into chaos. Chiamaka dropped to her knees beside her husband. Tunde, look at me. Tunde, please. His eyes flickered open. Chiamaka, don't move. The ambulance is coming. Chiamaka, I love you. Tunde, stop talking. Save your strength. If I die, you are not dying. Stop it. Tell my mother. Your mother is dead, Tunde. Stop it. Tell her anyway. His eyes closed. The ambulance arrived. They took him away. Chiamaka rode with him to the hospital with her green dress covered in her husband's blood.
Ma'am, we need to work.
At the hospital, the doctors examined Tunde for 90
Your
minutes.
husband is stable.
The wound was
The wound is
superficial.
The
He had a
concussion
mild
is
concussion.
he's asking
He had
for.
lost some blood, but his skull was intact and his vital signs were stable. The lead doctor came out to the waiting room. Mrs. Bakare? Yes. Your husband is stable. The wound is not serious. He will be fine. He is asking for you. Chiamaka stood up. She walked into the hospital room. Tunde was lying on the bed with a bandage around his head. His eyes were closed. His breathing was deep and steady. Chiamaka approached the bed. Tunde. His eyes did not open. Tunde, the doctor said you are awake. His eyes still did not open. His chest rose and fell in dramatic theatrical breaths. Chiamaka stood beside the bed for a long moment. Then she recognized what was happening. Her husband was not in a coma. Her husband was faking. Faking badly. She took one long, careful look at his face. Then she pulled out her phone. She pressed a contact. Dr. Okafor? Good evening. Yes, this is Mrs. Bakare. Yes, I am at the hospital now. My husband is stable but unconscious. I want to begin making preparations. Yes, for a worst-case scenario. Please have the organ donation consent forms brought to me immediately. My husband signed a universal donor card when he became a board member of the hospital foundation. I would like to honor his wishes. On the hospital bed, Tunde's dramatic breathing paused for half a second, then resumed. Chiamaka continued into the phone. Dr. Okafor, I want the harvest team to prepare. Heart, lungs, kidneys, liver, corneas, bone marrow, everything. If my husband does not recover within the next 2 hours, I want the process to begin immediately. Time is critical for organ viability. The dramatic breathing paused again, longer this time. Chiamaka did not look at Tunde. She kept her eyes on the wall. Also, Dr. Okafor, after the organ harvest, I would like to arrange for cremation. Yes. And from the ashes, I want a diamond made, a 3-carat diamond. I would like to wear him on my finger for the rest of my life. It is a new technology. I read about it in a journal last month. It costs about $40,000. Please arrange it. Yes, a 3-carat diamond ring. That is what my husband deserves. On the hospital bed, Tunde's theatrical breathing had now stopped completely. Dr. Okafor, one more thing. My husband has several insurance policies that I am the primary beneficiary of, a total of about $22 million. I would like the claims process to begin as soon as the death certificate is issued. I have plans for the money. I was thinking of hiring a personal model to replace him. Male models are very expensive these days, but I can afford one with the insurance settlement. Please also prepare. Stop. Tunde's voice from the hospital bed. His eyes were wide open. Chiamaka turned slowly. Husband, you are awake. I am awake. That is wonderful. You were in such a deep state. I was preparing for the worst. Chiamaka, I was faking. Faking? Yes. I wanted to test you. I wanted to see if you loved me for me or if you had married me out of some kind of revenge against Ikenna. I wanted to see if you would be sad or if you would be relieved, so I pretended to be in a coma. Tunde, that is very cruel. I know. I am sorry. I have been a fool. You have. You were not really going to harvest my organs, were you? Tunde, I am the daughter of Chief Emeka Nwankwo. If you had actually been in a coma, I would have done exactly what I just described. I would have harvested every organ, turned you into a ring, and used the insurance money to replace you with a male model. I am completely serious. Tunde stared at her. Then he started laughing. He laughed until the bandage on his head shifted. He laughed until the doctor came in to check on him. He laughed until Chiamaka started laughing too. When the laughter finally stopped, he reached out and took her hand. Chiamaka. Yes. I will never fake a coma again. That is wise. I love you. I love you too. But if you ever pull a trick like this on me again, I will actually turn you into a ring. Not a 3-carat one, a 2-carat one. And I will set it in silver, not gold, just to disrespect you. Tunde laughed again. He kissed her hand. He kissed her forehead. And the two of them. The billionaire CEO and the heiress of one of the largest indigenous fortunes in Nigeria. Married for 4 days, still not entirely sure how it had all happened. Stayed together in the hospital room until the morning came. Folake was arrested that night for assault. Her father refused to post bail. She spent 3 weeks in a holding cell before her case went to court. She was eventually sentenced to 18 months in prison. Nobody from her former social circle visited her even once. Ikenna, having lost his company, his fiancée and his entire network, left Abuja and returned to his village in Anambra. The last anyone heard of him, he was working as a clerk in his cousin's small provisions shop. He had stopped wearing suits. He had stopped mentioning the name of the woman he had once called beneath him. When people in the village asked him about his time in Abuja, he simply said, I made a mistake. A very expensive one. Chief Akintola paid the $2 million deposit. It was more than he could afford, but the Nwankwo family made sure the auction rules were enforced. His marriage collapsed within 6 months. His company was acquired by a competitor the following year. He moved to Kaduna and started selling generators. Chiamaka and Tunde kept the small flat in Karu. They expanded it by buying the flat next door and knocking down the dividing wall, but they refused to move out of the neighborhood. Mazi Emeka and Mama Ngozi continued to live in their compound. Mama Ngozi continued to cook jollof rice every Sunday, and Tunde continued to show up in his old security guard uniform every Sunday morning, because he had decided that was the version of himself he liked best. Chiamaka was formally promoted to Executive Vice President of Bakare Industries. Within a year, she was running 3 of the company's divisions. Within 2 years, she had increased their profitability by 30%. The business press began to write about her. She refused all interviews. The crown of the Niger was kept in a private safe in Chiamaka's new office. She wore it once a year, on her wedding anniversary. The rest of the year, she wore a simple gold chain with a small jade pendant that her father had given her to replace the one Ikenna had broken. The simple pendant was the one she loved. One Sunday, as she sat on the veranda of her parents' compound eating jollof rice with Tunde and watching the sun set over Karu, Mama Ngozi came and sat beside her. My daughter. Yes, Mama. I want to tell you something. I have been thinking about it for a long time. What is it? When you asked that man to marry you in our compound that morning, I was terrified. I thought you had lost your mind, but now I understand what you were doing. What was I doing? You were trusting your eyes, not your ears, not the things people told you about men and marriage and wealth. Your eyes saw something in that man that nobody else in the compound saw, and you chose it. Most women cannot trust their eyes that way. They let other people tell them what to see. Chiamaka smiled. Mama, I did not know I was trusting anything. I was just tired of being afraid. Mama Ngozi reached over and squeezed her hand. That is what trusting your eyes feels like, my daughter. It does not feel like bravery. It feels like you have run out of reasons to be afraid. Chiamaka leaned her head on her mother's shoulder. She watched her husband, the billionaire in the security guard uniform, eat jollof rice at a small plastic table in her parents' compound, and she understood, for the first time in her life, that the best moments always happened in places that looked small. Tunde looked up and saw her watching him. He smiled. She smiled back. And the sun went down over Karu, and the city of Abuja began to cool, and the story of the village girl who was kissed by a stranger who turned out to be a CEO came quietly to the place where all good stories come. That is the story. Except, of course, that she was not a village girl, and he did not kiss her at the start. And the CEO part, which had seemed at first like the most important part, turned out to be the least important thing about either of them. The most important thing was the moment in the compound. The moment when a man in a security guard uniform walked through a gate to defend a stranger. The moment when a woman in a plain blue dress decided that the man who would do that was the man she wanted to marry. The moment when two people, each hiding inside the same lie for the same reason, recognized each other through the disguise. If you find someone who would walk into a stranger's compound to defend you when they had nothing to gain, marry them. Even if you have known them for 10 minutes, even if everyone you know thinks you are crazy, even if they are wearing a security guard uniform and you are wearing your worst dress, marry them, because that is the test. That is the only test. And when you find someone who passes it, the rest of your life will be about saying thank you. What would you do if a stranger walked into your worst moment and stood beside you? Would you have married them on the spot? Or would you have let them walk away? Drop your answer in the comments. If this story moved you, hit that like button and subscribe to Folktale by Eli. Share it with someone who needs to remember that the right person is sometimes hiding inside the wrong uniform. Share it with someone who has been told they are not enough. Turn on notifications. The next story is coming soon. I'll see you in the next one.